All right, fellow UPSC aspirants, get ready for a deep dive into a topic that's incredibly relevant to your exam and to the future of India. We're talking about urban planning, and trust me, you'll find insights for both prelims and mains here. So grab those notepads and let's get started.
You know what's really interesting is how India's approach to urban planning isn't just about adopting the latest global trends, it's also about drawing lessons from unique events like the Kumbh Mela and integrating that wisdom into modern solutions.
Oh yeah, the Kumbh Mela, that massive gathering in Prayagraj. I remember reading about the 2025 Kumbh in that Business Standard article we're using for this deep dive. They basically built a temporary megacity fully equipped with infrastructure, AI-powered surveillance, the whole shebang.
Exactly. It was incredible. They showcased some serious efficiency in setting up and managing temporary infrastructure, but it does make you think, can we apply these temporary successes to our permanent cities? Can we make that kind of efficiency sustainable?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because India is facing this unprecedented urban explosion. By 2050, we're looking at half of India's population living in cities. That's a massive shift.
And that rapid urbanization, like you said, brings a whole bunch of challenges, especially when you consider that unplanned growth is still the norm in so many areas. Think about the pressure on resources, on housing, on existing infrastructure is going to put a huge strain on everyday life for the average person.
It's almost like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And to make matters worse, remember what happened between 2001 and 2011? The number of census towns nearly tripled. That's explosive growth with very little planning.
Exactly. And that unplanned growth leads to a whole cascade of issues. It's not just about traffic jams. We're talking housing shortages, inadequate sanitation, environmental degradation, the list goes on. These are real problems that have a real impact on people's lives.
Yeah. It's a stark reminder that urban planning isn't just about buildings and roads. It's about people. It's about their well-being. You know, the Dharavi redevelopment project comes to mind. This ambitious project aimed at rehabilitating over 1 million slum dwellers has been stalled for years. And I think it really highlights the complexities and the roadblocks we face in addressing these issues.
Dharavi's struggle is a symptom of a larger issue, though. India has a critical shortage of urban planners. Did you know that there are only around 17,000 planners for a country of this size and scale? That's practically asking for chaos. It highlights the need for better planning and allocation of resources.
It really does. And that brings us to another crucial aspect, funding. Our urban local bodies, or ULBs as they're called, are often severely underfunded and they just don't have the autonomy they need to function effectively.
It's like trying to run a business with your hands tied behind your back and no money in the bank. Cities in India are only collecting a fraction of their potential property tax revenue. This lack of financial resources further hinders their ability to manage this rapid urban growth.
So we've got a situation where ULBs are starved for resources and they lack the power to act independently. This begs the question, what systemic changes can we implement to address this financial crunch? How can we empower ULBs to effectively manage this massive urban influx? As future policymakers, these are questions you should be grappling with.
Absolutely. And this is where your UPSC syllabus comes in handy. Understanding concepts like public finance, decentralization, and urban governance. These are the tools that will help you analyze these challenges and propose solutions. Think about policies that can empower ULBs and ensure they have the financial resources to manage this massive urban influx. It's about using what you learn to create real change.
So we've painted a bit of a bleak picture here with all these challenges. But it's not all doom and gloom, right? I mean, where can we look for inspiration? Where are the success stories? What can we learn from other cities, both in India and globally?
You're absolutely right. It's easy to get caught up in the problems, but I think it's important to remember that every challenge also presents an opportunity. So let's shift gears and look at some successful models of urban development. These examples offer valuable lessons for aspiring policymakers like yourselves.
Okay, I'm all for a dose of optimism. Give me some shining examples. What comes to mind?
Well, how about we start with Indore? They've really transformed their city into a model for waste management. They've gone from trash to treasure, literally.
Oh, yeah. Indoor, I've heard about their success. What's the secret sauce? What are they doing differently?
They've implemented a really smart, decentralized system that focuses on citizen engagement and composting. It's not about fancy technology. It's about smart strategies and getting the community involved.
So Indoor's success highlights the importance of local solutions and citizen participation. It's not just about top-down policies, it's about empowering communities to take ownership of their urban spaces.
Exactly. And speaking of local solutions, Chennai's success with rainwater harvesting is another great example. They've shown how ancient wisdom can be combined with modern techniques to address critical issues like water scarcity.
It's like proving that sometimes the old ways are the best ways.
Right. Exactly.
Hmm.
By reviving traditional practices and scaling them up, they've made significant progress in water conservation.
These examples really show that innovation isn't always about high-tech solutions. It can be about adapting time-tested approaches to modern challenges. But of course, we can't ignore the role of technology in modern urban planning.
Definitely, technology can be a powerful tool, but it's not a magic bullet. It needs to be implemented strategically and thoughtfully. Cities like Chandigarh and Kolkata are using AI to manage traffic congestion and improve safety. These examples show that technology can play a key role in optimizing urban systems.
So it's about using technology to solve specific problems, not just adopting it for the sake of being tech-savvy.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the importance of good governance and effective policymaking.
Because without those, a city can have all the latest technology, but still struggle to function efficiently.
Exactly. Technology without good governance is like a car without a driver. As future policymakers, you need to understand how to leverage technology effectively, and that means ensuring transparency, accountability, and citizen-centric design.
So it's about approaching urban planning from multiple angles: economic, social, environmental, and technological.
Exactly. It's about seeing the big picture and finding solutions that address the interconnectedness of these issues.
And that's what the UPSC exams are all about, right? Testing your ability to think critically and apply your knowledge to real-world situations.
Absolutely. This deep dive isn't just about giving you information, it's about encouraging you to think for yourselves. Question assumptions and come up with your own solutions.
It's about going beyond the textbooks and really engaging with the material, making it relevant and meaningful for the future you'll be shaping. So how can our listeners, these future civil servants, really use this deep dive to their advantage in their UPSC journey?
Well, first of all, I'd encourage everyone to go back and really delve into that Business Standard article we mentioned. It offers valuable insights into the current state of urban planning in India and provides important context for our discussion.
Right. It's not about memorizing facts and figures. It's about understanding the underlying trends, the challenges, the potential solutions.
Exactly. And secondly, think about how this topic connects to other areas of the UPSC syllabus. We've touched upon public finance, governance, environmental issues, technological advancements. It's all interconnected.
Oh, and let's not forget about disaster management. Unplanned urban growth makes cities more vulnerable to floods, earthquakes, and other disasters.
Absolutely. That's a crucial point. Making those connections will not only deepen your understanding of urban planning, but it'll also help you tackle those complex multi-part questions in your mains exam.
So use this deep dive as a springboard to explore these connections. Build a holistic understanding of the subject. Remember, the UPSC exams are not about regurgitating information. They're about showcasing your ability to analyze, synthesize, and present your thoughts in a clear and concise way.
It's about having a mental map of urban planning in India with all its intricacies and nuances, and going beyond textbook definitions to form your own informed perspective on the challenges and opportunities ahead.
So it's about moving beyond the passive absorption of information to actively engaging with the material and forming your own opinion.
Exactly. It's not enough to know the facts. You need to be able to connect them, analyze them, and present them in a way that demonstrates true understanding.
And that skill will serve you well, not just in the exams, but throughout your career as a civil servant.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, let's pause for a moment and consider this. If you were tasked with revamping the Dharavi redevelopment project, what would be your top 3 priorities?
That's a great question to ponder. It really gets you thinking about the complexities involved in such a massive undertaking. Yeah, it really makes you think about how to balance those big, ambitious goals with the needs of the people who actually live there.
You hit the nail on the head. We often get caught up in talking about smart cities and high-tech solutions, but we can't forget about the human element. We need to think about participatory urban planning, involving communities in the decision-making process, giving them a voice and shaping their own neighborhoods.
So it's not just experts and policymakers dictating solutions from some ivory tower. It's about incorporating the lived experiences and the insights of the people who will be directly affected by those decisions.
Precisely. And there are some fantastic examples from around the world that show the power of participatory planning. Take Porto Alegre in Brazil, for instance. They've implemented a participatory budgeting model where residents have a direct say in how municipal funds are allocated.
Wow, that's incredible. Giving citizens that level of ownership and control over their communities. Are there any examples of this kind of participatory planning closer to home?
Oh, absolutely. Pune, for example, has also experimented with participatory budgeting, empowering local communities to propose and implement urban projects. These examples show that a more inclusive and democratic approach to urban planning isn't just some utopian ideal, it's a real possibility.
It makes you wonder why more cities haven't adopted this kind of approach. I mean, who understands the needs of a community better than the people who live there, right? By tapping into that local knowledge and expertise, you're bound to get more responsive and effective urban solutions.
Exactly. But participatory planning is just one piece of the puzzle. We also need to ensure equitable access to resources and opportunities for all citizens.
So it's not just about giving people a voice, but also making sure they have the means to actually participate and benefit from urban development.
Exactly. Urban planning should aim to create cities that are just and inclusive for everyone, regardless of their socioeconomic background. Think about things like access to affordable housing, quality education, healthcare, reliable transportation. These are the building blocks of a thriving and equitable urban environment.
It's about creating a level playing field where everyone has the opportunity to succeed and live a dignified life. And of course, we can't talk about urban planning without addressing the environmental impact. Sustainable urban planning isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's an absolute necessity.
Absolutely. You're right. Cities are major contributors to climate change. As responsible policymakers, we need to prioritize green initiatives. Energy efficiency, renewable energy sources, sustainable transportation systems, green building practices. These aren't just buzzwords, they're essential strategies for building resilient and sustainable cities for the future.
So things like incorporating green building designs, promoting solar panels, transitioning to electric buses, creating robust cycling infrastructure. These are all concrete steps we can take to mitigate the environmental impact of urban growth.
Exactly. And we can learn a lot from cities that are leading the way in sustainable urban development. Singapore's Green Plan 2030 and Copenhagen's Climate Adaptation Plan are great examples. They've set ambitious but achievable goals for creating truly sustainable urban environments.
They're setting a high bar for the rest of the world, showing what's possible when you have the right combination of innovation, political will, and a genuine commitment to sustainability. So as we wrap up our deep dive into India's urban future, what are the key takeaways for our aspiring UPSC officers?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that this is a multidimensional topic. Urban planning isn't some isolated field. It intersects with economics, governance, environmental science, technology. Don't study it in a vacuum. Make those connections.
It's about understanding how all these pieces fit together and approaching urban planning with a holistic perspective.
Exactly. And of course, staying updated on current affairs is crucial. That Business Standard article we discussed is a prime example of the kind of material you should be engaging with.
Right? Analyze the trends, the challenges, the proposed solutions. It'll deepen your understanding and help you tackle those current affairs-based questions in your prelims and mains exams.
And most importantly, remember that this isn't just an academic exercise. You are the future policymakers, the ones who will be shaping the future of India's cities.
So think critically about the challenges and the opportunities, and don't be afraid to question the status quo.
Engage with this topic, actively think outside the box, come up with your own solutions. This is where the journey to becoming a well-informed citizen and a responsible leader begins.
And remember, we're here to support you on that journey. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into topics that matter. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or want to discuss any specific aspect of urban planning. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And for those of you who want to explore this topic further, you'll find a link to that Business Standard article in the description below. Happy studying, everyone.
Until next time, keep those brains buzzing, those ambitions soaring, and let's work together to build a better urban future for India.